Hi, Mark. Um, Welcome. I'm glad you're here today. Um, Please have a seat. Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
There's some bottled water there if you'd like some. If it's all right with you, I'd like to go ahead and get started with some routine questions.
Okay.
What is your full name, please?
Mark Lowell.
Mark Lowell. Okay. Is it all right if I call you by your first name?
Yes,
Mark?
of course.
Okay. And where are you from originally?
Originally from Huntington Beach, California.
Okay. And are you currently employed?
I am.
You are. And can you tell me a little bit about what you do and how long you've been with your company and that sort of thing?
I work for a company called EMC, and I've been there for almost 15 years. And I am in sales, and my customers are the United States federal government, and it's a technology company.
Okay. Are you married?
I am.
You're married, and do you have children?
I do. I have 4 boys.
4 boys. Okay. So is this your first time coming for therapy? Or?
It is, yes.
Okay, great. And can you describe where we are today?
In Great Falls, Virginia.
Yeah. And the village center, what are those roads at that main intersection?
Walker
there?
and Georgetown Pike.
Yeah, okay, great. And what is today's date?
It is Friday, March 4th.
And the day of the week and the month?
Friday, March 4th.
Thank you. And what's the next upcoming holiday?
St. Patrick's Day, if you can call that a holiday.
Sure.
Or Easter.
Sure,
Easter.
I'm Irish. That works for me.
Easter is probably
Yeah.
a better one.
Yeah, Easter. Okay, thank you. And what brought you here today?
I think just overall there's some obvious challenges in dealing with 2 of my boys are teenagers now, and so just there's always challenges with raising teenage boys.
Yeah, I can imagine. And how was it? How did you arrive here today? Did you?
By car.
You found the office okay?
I did. Yeah, no problems.
Great,
Yeah.
great. How would you describe your mood?
I think it's fantastic. Yeah, good.
Currently it is.
It's Friday.
It's Friday, right? TGIF. So, and what about over the course of the week? Would you say, is it pretty consistent? Does your mood fluctuate some? Or?
I'm a relatively positive, happy person.
Yeah. And at work, is it a stressful environment that you are in at work?
I think really any job would be that way. My job is, it's sales, so my income is dependent on, how productive I am, and so obviously there's always a sense of pressure. In addition to that, obviously with 4 colleges coming up, that obviously is something that, keeps my thoughts working.
Of course. And the people that you work with, how would you describe your office environment? And
the bulk of them are, I would call them my friends. Obviously there's always the occasional, personality challenge. I work for a demanding person who has no children of her own, and so sometimes she struggles with understanding a life balance.
Yeah, maybe she has a hard time empathizing with you, being busy with family, or
Sure, yeah, absolutely. If I leave at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to go pick up a carpool for a sporting event, she doesn't necessarily understand that.
Okay. And would you describe yourself as a lucky person?
You bet.
Yeah.
I win everything.
You do?
I do.
What are some examples, or what would you?
I remember, just walking into a bowling alley, and there was some sort of a fundraiser going on with a 50-50 raffle. Nothing that I was even involved with at all. And I bought a ticket and won. I remember being at a rodeo and, in a big arena, and, them saying, reach under your seat, and if you've got a ticket, you get a pair of cowboy boots. And of course that was me too. So I seem to win everything.
Oh, all right. And so what would you do it's the Virginia lottery, I guess, the Powerball, and it's like up to $40 million. What if you won $40 million today? What would you do with that money?
I honestly don't think I'd change a whole lot, believe it or not. I don't think that I get nervous about spending money when I'm not making money, and I honestly think that even if I had a windfall like that, I still think that if I didn't have income, I would be that would probably bother me. So I don't think I'd change a whole lot. I might try and find something that would be potentially a little less stressful. I've always thought that I'd be a good teacher or coach.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I would do something like that. But right now, obviously, so if I had the money to stop doing what I do, I potentially would do that.
So you might, that's interesting. If you feel like if money were no object, you would perhaps make a change of job, or
Yeah,
you
I
might do
think so.
something different. Yeah.
I think most people,
Yeah.
a lot of people would, but I think I would still want to work. I'd still want to
Sure.
have, I'd want to feel like I was contributing and making, bringing some income in.
And what would your dream job be?
I think that I would love to coach and teach.
Mm-hmm. Coach sports, or anything in particular?
Sure.
Or
Whatever. I think,
sport.
yeah. And the funny thing though is I don't do that enough with my kids. So probably because it's of the time commitment in the job.
It's hard to do it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just to recap, so it sounds like you came in today to talk about your family life in general, teenagers in the household. There might be a little drama on occasion, or some stress around that, and maybe you're envisioning or looking for ways to make your household more peaceful or higher functioning. Does that sound about
Absolutely.
right? Is there anything you would add to that? Or?
No, I think just overall, when the kids get a little bit older, your relationship with them changes. And one of the things that happens is they're not looking up to you for guidance and advice and support. And so the question is, how can you still be a positive influence when you're not the coolest guy to them anymore?
Mm-hmm. So how would you compare, thinking of today, if you envision your family life, you've described that you have 4 children, 4 boys, and your wife. How would you compare your home life today to your home life, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, when the boys were maybe all in grade school and a little bit younger?
I wouldn't say it's changed a whole lot. I think that the pressures and the stresses do change as you start to get closer to college. The college savings that you've been doing all of a sudden becomes a little bit. It's coming at you like a train. It's 2 years away for my oldest, whereas it was a priority 4 years ago, but it wasn't as real. It seemed far away. And then the things that we talked about earlier about how, back then it was real easy to give your kids some advice and have them respond well to it. Now you give them advice and it's a lecture. So there's certainly some challenges there. But overall, I don't think there's a whole lot of change.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it sounds like if you're balancing a very busy home life with the 4 children and all of their schedules, and it sounds as if your work, being in sales, you mentioned it varies from time to time, the stress level somewhat, but that I can just imagine trying to strike a work-life balance you would meet with daily challenges around that. So
I'm fortunate though, because sales you make your own hours, so I can do what I want. There's not someone telling me that I need to be at work at a certain hour in the morning, and there's not someone telling me that I need to leave at a certain time, and I don't travel very often. So, I can certainly manage through that. In fact, that's one of the reasons that I haven't made any changes to my job in 15 years is because I do have the ability to work when I need to work and take time off when I need to take time off.
Sounds good.
Very fortunate that way.
Yeah. So how would you describe your stress level if on a scale from 1 to 10? So if you imagine 1 being, really relaxed, just lying on the beach in the sun reading a book, or versus or level 10 being the most
that
stressful.
Is stressful. Laying on a beach reading a book is stressful.
That would be stressful for you.
No, I could be in complete denial, but
Yeah.
I don't consider myself a person that's in a lot of stress. I really don't. I would suggest that, once again, I could be in denial because, recently I've been in the doctor's office and been diagnosed with hypertension, and they're worried about my blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But typically I don't feel any stress or pressure. I don't, at least it might be manifesting itself in other ways, but I don't, I certainly worry potentially more than some other people, and I certainly am thinking about supporting, all six of us. And what the challenge that is, I wake up and I think about, becoming a almost 50-year-old, sales guy sometimes. So I worry about the future. I worry about my ability to continue to make money for a long time. But I don't feel like I'm under a lot of stress.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So when you think about your mental and physical health, just in general, say in terms of exercise and health, rather nutrition and recreation, the things that you like to do for fun, would you say that you're able to make time or take time for self-care?
Probably not as much as my wife would like. I actually, when I think about what I do for myself, is I go watch my kids play sports, and that's, and drive the carpool and do those things. And, I don't, and I, that to me, I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. So some people would say, well, you don't take any time to do something for yourself. The reality is that's exactly what I want to be doing. If I wanted to play golf, I would go play golf. I like to play golf, but I don't want to go out after work with buddies. I want to go to the school and pick up 5 high school sophomores and bring them home and listen to them jabber about, girls and things. So I am doing things for myself, and me providing for my family gives me more joy than going out and playing golf. So physically, yes, I'd like to exercise more. There's not a whole lot of time for that.
But do you exercise on a regular basis? Are you able to, or that's just hard to fit in?
It's hard to fit in. I try and do a walk run every morning, or at least, I've been kind of tracking my steps on my phone a little bit and having fun with that. And I'm not, and I'll find myself just, if I notice that my step count's down a little bit, I'll run around the house a little bit or go up and down the stairs 5 or 6 times to get the stair climb, count up. But no, usually it's about a half hour in the morning, and that's about all I get in. But I don't sit down. I don't sit still much, other than maybe on the weekends. I don't watch a lot of TV.
Okay, well, thank you. We're about at the end of our time for today, but I'll look forward to seeing you next week, and we can talk some more then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Safe travels home tonight.